Satellite picture shows a ridge of high pressure that is moving over us, and as it does so, we're going to see things very warm today before it cools off for the weekend. All right, high temperatures today, very warm, 85 in Riverside. San Bernardino should top out at 86, 84 Pasadena, lower 80s in the Antelope Valley, and 68 Ventura. As we see those clouds, keep your temps cool for today. AccuWeather 70 for LA Metro and Orange County. Today in the 80s, tomorrow in the mid-70s, still above average, and then back to normal or so for Easter Sunday next week. Temperatures going to be just as smooth.
Well, we didn't know the fires were going to start. We knew there was this high wind warning. They said deadly wind 72 hours before.
It was like extreme wind warnings, 80 to 100 mile per hour gusts. We could actually smell the smoke here in Orange County and realize the severity of the situation. And we just thought, what can we do? How can we help? How can we get people what they need?
And I remember saying to Lauren, I hope that there's not a fire because it's going to be devastating. And I saw the fires popping up and I realized, okay, we got to do something immediately. That's just in our DNA. So I put out a call to action and I immediately tweeted out, I was like, look, if somebody needs a place to stay, if they need a parking lot to just regroup in, they need free meals, come down to the restaurant. I put the address out there. I'll go down there. We were already talking to people who had available homes, rooms, etc.
All we could picture was floods of people leaving LA and heading south towards Orange County.
It's hard to believe more than 24 hours after the flames broke out at the top of the mountain here that the wind is still blowing this hard. In the last 24 hours, more than 1,000 homes and at least 2 people have died in fires across Southern California, but this one in the Palisades is by far the worst.
So I actually sat on the floor looking at the cameras here to see if anybody was pulling up because I'm only a few minutes away. So we were going to drive down, open up the restaurant doors. People came down the next morning. We did open the doors and we started feeding people. We started helping people. But then that's when we realized that it was hard for people to get out of Los Angeles. And I had people in Orange County saying, well, how can we help? We saw your message online. How can we help get the supplies up to those in need? We knew that they would also need stuff. So the very next morning it became, okay, what can we get people? And then from there, it grew into this much bigger operation.
And if you've been to our restaurant, the parking space is very ample. And we just figured, they can hang out here, book a hotel, get a bite to eat, do whatever. So I said, yeah, but what do they need? They're going to need stuff, especially if their homes are gone, So I just, put a call to action out on my social media. And I said, hey, this is what we need donation wise, some non-perishables, some water, some pet food.
Then it was a logistics game, getting in touch with the right organizations, who's collecting goods, who's distributing goods up in Los Angeles. And that's where it can take a significant amount of time for some of the bigger organizations to pull together in order to get things done. Jose Andres was one of the first people who texted me actually saying, hey, we're in this, where are you? Here's what we're doing, etc. He put me in touch with the lady who was running the, at the convention center. She said, can you bring up 400 meals, any supplies? So that was kind of our immediate call to action.
And we just, asked for donations. We did a call to action on our social media channels that kind of, blew up in the best way possible. I was very naive to the whole thing. I brought 2 bins from my garage and I thought, okay, these will at least get filled up and we can take them up to the Dream Center. And little did I know what was about to happen.
I'm in the Melissa's truck right now. Melissa's Produce is dropping all of this hearts of palm pasta, hatch pepper clean snacks. These are unbelievable, these pumpkin seed clean snacks. So everything right now, they brought their produce truck. This is our produce purveyor, World Variety Produce, Melissa's. It's amazing because now we're getting real food, right? We're not just dropping bags of Fritos, we're getting real food and we're giving them to everybody.
You guys, SOS, we need help. I will share a picture of what is being dropped off right now. So if you can come by the restaurant, starting now, I said 12, but come sooner and help organize, sort, open the Amazon boxes. That would be super, super, super helpful.
Hello, you guys. As you can see, we are just totally overwhelmed with boxes in the best possible way. So yeah, if you want to come down, help us open, organize, sort, and load trucks, that would be super, super helpful.
We drove up into Pasadena. We were one of the only cars on the road. I had Lauren following me in the van. I had 2 of the kids in the box truck with me. Don't worry, they were in a seatbelt. Lauren had the kids in the back. And we were getting all these evacuation alerts because we were driving into the fire zone. The kids were scared. We're like, don't worry, it's fine. smoke everywhere, nobody on the road. It was apocalyptic. It looked like a Dinar Kunz novel, right? It was like the Langoliers. And when we pull up to the convention center, they had evacuated all of these nursing homes and other centers. So people were in gurneys, and there was just ambulance and police everywhere. And it was just very jarring, very shocking.
All I can say is they can only do so much. Because when that wind gets too high, there's just nothing they can do except watch.
There were houses to the back of us, to the side of us, and to the street below, and that's where the problem came. The wind whipped up, the flames were up about 30, 40 feet high, and you hear pop, 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 sound like a war zone.
Right now, about 30,000 people are under evacuation orders in this area, and the fire is threatening several communities.
Many of them elderly, they didn't even have time to retrieve their medication.
And that was one of those triggers where it was like, okay, we got to do more. We got to figure this out. So we dropped everything off. We went back to the restaurant, and I kept cooking, right? It was like 12 o'clock at night, and that's when I got in touch with Matthew Barnett, who I'd known peripherally from the Dream Center, and figuring out what they needed because they were actually housing people.
Pastor Matthew Barnett, the founder of the Dream Center, has been leading thousands of volunteers to help families like that with anything that they may need at absolutely no cost. I mean, talk about a ministry and the need for you since these fires started.
We have a shelter of 108 beds behind us right now that's taking care of people who are coming in and lost everything, delivering checks to families directly impacted who've lost their homes. It is absolute pandemonium because in a city like Los Angeles, when something gets disrupted, people aren't living paycheck to paycheck, they're living minute by minute.
They have an incredible operation out there for young men going through like rehab. So I knew the Dream Center, and so I already knew from the get-go it was a wonderful place. And then Andrew, I know, had been in communication with Matthew Barnett, who is the head pastor and the leader there. And he just said, like, hey, what do you need from us? Like, let us know what you need. We'll get it up to you.
Dream Center is open 24 hours a day to anybody who's in need. Homelessness, we deal with people who have drug addiction, families that are homeless. All of a sudden, when the fires broke out, we had one floor that wasn't being used for a couple months for our youth groups that are coming in. So we said, let's just make it available to people. When everything started to break, there was a ripple effect of everything that was going on. People showing up from Altadena, Pasadena, the whole foothills, and they were wanting food and water because the water's contaminated in Pasadena, can't drink it. Started showing up here, it was water and diapers, and then the whole society began to kind of collapse with families and workers that couldn't go to their jobs for a week, and then everybody going through that, not paycheck to paycheck, but minute by minute, really. That's the reality of LA. And so we just started stepping up and responding. It's led to this, 10 hours a day, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's also led to people coming by telling us to show us pictures of the homes that they've lost. And it's allowed us now to be able to take care of 100 families in Altadena, which another crew is out there in that area, working with them one-on-one. So it's everything we never thought we'd be doing 7 days ago from now, but we're just going to continue to go on.
This experience altogether is that, there are a lot of good people in this world. Professionally, I feel like I stepped into a new role as, a leader, and, not saying I'm not in the restaurant, in our restaurant, but, I felt like just being, the person, the go-to person and the logistics coordinator, and stepping into all these roles that I've never done before.
She's the world, literally, and seeing what she does is unbelievable. Like, I've seen a side of her. She hasn't had the opportunity to question herself. It's just get in and get it done and do it. So to see her kind of just like rip off the shackles of her own shackles that she puts on herself and just be like, we got to get this done, and it's going to happen this way, and we're going to do it, and nobody question me, is like awesome. She yells at me now.
What I realized, at least from our COVID relief effort, was that it takes the government a long time to do things, and I knew that these people needed stuff right away.
Bass is under intense scrutiny after she was abroad visiting Ghana when the wildfires broke out in the city.
Fire chiefs say that they're really stretched to the limit and running out of water. What have you got to say to that? Have you no response to that? Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
You got a second? Governor, I live here, Governor.
Literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it. Could somebody have a contact? Can I have your contact information?
3,000 acres burning in my district on the Mexican border. There will be more fires until we include in any disaster relief items which will prevent it or at least mitigate it from happening again. So you're going to see us proposing both of those.
Like water.
But we, so it's like we knew from the pandemic, right? Like we had started that restaurant fund. We were there trying to raise as much money for restaurant workers. We ended up raising like $700,000. That was like our first foray into this world. So anytime there's an issue, we know the government is not going to be there in phase one. Yep. Phase one is when people are trying to figure out what's going on. The government is always slow in their response and they're always confusing. So we're like, okay, look, in this phase one, there's going to be a lot of needs. Like we got to step in and help out or else people are going to be left kind of destitute.
Yeah, we knew there was going to be like a week delay with the government, so we knew we needed to step in immediately and like get it done because it wasn't going to happen with them.
Well, I'd be honest, I haven't really taken like a long period of time to sit down and reflect and be mindful and meditate on all of the pain and suffering that's out there. I feel it, I see it, I understand it, right? Like, but that's also what's driving me is because we want to stop it. Every time I go up to the Dream Center and I see the faces of the people who are driving through just to get the needs in order to get them through the day, or the people come down here who have left and who have gone through have been evacuated and they don't know what their next move is. The messages, the phone calls, the texts, all of that.
My relationship with Andrew is pretty special because he started just showing up and bringing things, and then he would, and then I captured it because I saw him on television before I knew who he was. I knew about his remarkable heart to help people, and I just started posting funny things like, "There comes Andrew Gruel with another sneaky drop," because everywhere we look, he'd like show up as he was be sneaky, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, giving food to our staff. Yeah, it was kind of a funny thing that turned into something where all that was a rallying cry for every one of his followers on X. And man, Orange County started invading this place. They were breaking the orange curtain and coming to downtown LA and bringing stuff. And it became a revival of giving. It became something so special where the Orange County was just loving on LA. And it was all because of Chef Gruel and Lauren and their inspiration. And so it's amazing. We've had 1,200 volunteers on this campus in one day. And we've been trying to say yes to everyone, to let everyone be a part, everybody serve, because part of rebuilding as a city is the community spirit of serving and of giving.
Guys, this is unbelievable here. Look at this operation at the Dream Center. These are all volunteers. This is not the city. They got everything figured out, from directing traffic to dropping to distributing.
Can I get some more people over here?
Everything cleared.
A lot of people had said, if it happened in California, we've said this many times, the hurricane happened in Texas, you had trucks lined up. And people say, I wonder if this happened in California, would people line up to help their neighbors? And it turns out they are.
So we put out a call to action that we just needed some small donations. We were going to take them up to the Dream Center up in LA or to the Pasadena Convention Center, as well as hot foods that we were coordinating and giving over to the World Central Kitchen. We've had well over $50,000 in donations from all across the country. I'm talking $5, $10 donations. And we were trying to get it all distributed. The city of Huntington Beach offered up their public utility vehicles. They started bringing it up to the Dream Center. Right now, we've got at least 10 to 15 truckloads full in front of the restaurant, and we've had at least 100 volunteers from around Orange County and Los Angeles. In addition to the fact that a couple people had come down who had been evacuated, they parked in our parking lot. We gave them free meals, and then they started helping out and driving stuff back up to LA. So that is a positive story in the midst of all of this.
It really is.
What message do you have for people 3,000 miles away as they watch this?
Well, the message is actually one of hope, because you know what? In this time of the city and the state just dropping the ball, people came together. I mean, as I mentioned to you, we had 300, 400 volunteers showing up to help us out over a 5-day period. We've had hundreds and thousands of dollars in donations and goods being shipped in from Amazon and other places all across the country. You've got the Dream Center up in Los Angeles who's helping out hundreds of families. You don't need government to help. People are coming together. And I'll tell you, because this is, political to some degree, even when I was looking out in our parking lot the other day, we had somebody dressed completely in MAGA gear. I mean, the cliche head-to-toe MAGA gear, next to somebody wearing a Resistance, anti-Trump shirt, pro-Kamala, packing boxes, laughing together, putting things on the back of the truck. This isn't about politics. People will always step up. People are inherently good, and we've seen that kind of exemplified in our restaurant over the past week. we know so many people around Los Angeles and the greater Los Angeles County, Orange County. So, we understand what these different neighborhoods are like. We understand what people are facing. For us, this isn't like a socioeconomic thing or looking at the different demographics of people who are hurt. It's about giving the people in Orange County, because we're a little bit south of Los Angeles, the opportunity to help those in need.
Food just brings everyone together. I mean, honestly, you don't realize how important it is until you don't have it.
That's right. Many LA restaurants are answering the call to deliver community meals on behalf of those who donate. They've dispatched dozens of meals to local communities to feed fire victims, first responders, essential workers, and more. The goal here is not only to provide nourishment to those affected by the fires, but to also help the restaurants and local businesses continue to operate as they serve their communities to recover.
And even just seeing the volunteers who work day in and day out, just really, even myself, you need food, you need community, just sitting down, getting that break. You're working nonstop during a crisis like this, and, just to get people to get together.
You've been delivering food to everybody, finding housing. You had people sleep at your restaurant. It's like a truly kind of like American type of charity. It's not a bunch of platitudes, it was action, so I commend you.
I appreciate that. It was actually everybody else who jumped in and helped. There was a whole community spirit, and the person sleeping at the restaurant was me.
I thought about it.
I hope that this entire process is inspiring for everybody to step in and do their part, right? Whether you're a business, whether you're a restaurant, whether you're an individual, whether you're a large organization. Because, like I said, every little bit matters. We had restaurants in Huntington Beach here come and dropping food that we were then taking up to the people in need, as well as feeding volunteers. You gotta think about the volunteers, right? Like hundreds of people, thousands of people are coming together to help. We can't ignore them either, right? Like somebody needs to be taking care of the people who are taking care of other people.
So, we put together the map for the driving here, and
yeah, you came up with that?
Yeah, I'm a professor, man. So
you've been leading us for days, man. Not only have you been a friend for years, but you showed up boots on the ground.
That's right, man. Hey, do what we can.
That was a game changer.
I had my students come out. I told them, hey, if it's a little much, go with a friend at first. Just go feel it out. See what you can do. Don't feel overwhelmed. Step aside. There's plenty of people doing what they can.
We can feed the volunteers. One thing I learned working at the Ritz-Carlton was one of their mottos, which I thought was great, was we are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen, right? And the idea behind that is that we treat our guests the same way we treat each other as team members. We treat them with the same amount of respect, because it goes down and it comes up. And I think that's the same idea, is like we need to treat each other and the volunteers and the people who are helping with the same respect, and treat everybody as part of this operation. And I hate to actually call it an operation, because that seems very tactical. It seems very technical, because it's more than that. It's really just emotional organization. And but that, I think that's the appropriate approach. And if you take that framework and that thinking and you apply it now outside of this exact situation into the way in which we operate as a business and others operate as a business, I think that as a whole is a pretty good regimen of emotional medicine, if you will, to kind of fix a lot of what we feel is divisiveness nowadays.
And even if you just come to the restaurant and have a meal here, like that in and of itself really supports us and helps us, because that's a lot of that revenue is money that we're using also to help, because our cooks, our servers are volunteering, our cooks are cooking everything, we're driving stuff up ourselves, and we're using our product here in order to provide those meals.
And you're not giving them cheap garbage food, so just hit on that and how your whole restaurant is all about that.
Yeah, we're 100% seed oil free. We're always focused on high quality proteins. We work with the best farms and local sustainable fisheries here in California and beyond. So that's been really what we do as a business and as a restaurant from our quality product perspective. And you're right, because you can't just be giving people bags of Fritos and like ramen packets in so much as that's helpful. And trust me, you need that sustenance from time to time. We're giving people like tenderloin, fresh meat. We've got Santa Clarita beef, which is an amazing farm here that's like the best. It's, the ground beef is like $15 a pound. They donated 500 pounds of that for us. So we cooked a ton of meatballs and like stuffed burritos, and we've been doing lobster burritos, and we've been doing tenderloins. We broke down a case of 12, 15 tenderloins that we sliced up and brought up to the Dream Center. So we want to nourish people, not just feed them. We want to make sure they've got good, high quality food, because if we're simultaneously making them sick with all the junk that's in our food system, well, we're hurting them in the long run. So we've got to fulfill the goal on kind of two fronts.
I hope people think that they have to, do something very big, like such a big grand gesture, but every little contribution matters. Everything. It doesn't matter if you can only donate $10. It doesn't matter if you can only donate your time. All hands work together.
I think the most important takeaway from all of this is the volunteers, right? All the people who've come together. People are coming up to me and they're saying, thank you. It's not me. I'm like sauteing, salmon, right? Like I'm pulling people together and getting meals and packaging meals to get up to the right places. It's the hundreds of people who are helping and making this happen. Everybody is playing an equal role. It's not me, it's not Lauren, it's absolutely everybody. Yes, we can provide the opportunity because of our space to pull everybody together to make it happen, and we can offer logistics and our experience, but everybody has come together and done so much in regards to this particular effort. And so we stepped up and we did what needed to get done. Restaurants are always forgotten about, but we're always the first ones there to help people out. But that's what we do. Restaurant workers, restaurant owners, restaurant managers, they're there for the purpose of hospitality. We're there to help people, feed people, and that's the community of it. Hospitality extends past the doors of the restaurant.
Kids, if you want.
They're refusing.
That's what I was talking about the other night. Oh, yeah. My mom and dad used to threaten us with hair. We're going to go.
Okay, and in 5, 4.
And now we're with the people who started our community gathering for donations, Andrew and Lauren Gruel. It was incredible how you guys brought the community together, and just a wave of donations came your way.
100%. It wasn't even just the donations, it was the helping hands from everybody in the community. I mean, we had almost 200 volunteers at one point at the restaurant. We just kind of said, look, we know we got to help out. We know that the community of Huntington Beach is obviously always wanting to help. Sometimes you just don't know how.
Yeah, so we had people sorting things, we had people driving up supplies, we had people just coordinating traffic by traffic coordinators here, Bill, Giovanna, who's been my #1, Christine, a bunch of volunteers are here right now, but it's been such an incredible experience, and we couldn't have done it without everybody coming together.
On behalf of a very grateful city, we want to give you guys a certificate of appreciation.
Thank you.
Calico Fish House.